So Dynamite. It's Dynamite.
Welcome to the 2020, February 19th episode of Dynamite. And we started off with a bejeebus. It started with a tag team battle royal to see who will be the number one contenders to face off against either Hangman Page or the Lucha Bros in their tag title match later in the night at Revolution involving the Young Bucks, 2HQ, Butcher and the Blade, Hangman, no, not Hangman, oh my god, Santana and Ortiz, and the Dark Order involving Evil Uno and and Gresham. I think it's Grayson. Other than that, I don't care. He just looks bald. Other than that, the match was fine. Decent, fast-paced exchanges. They kept going to more one-on-one, so it didn't matter unless both of them were eliminated. They could still compete. I don't like it. Just no sells the notion that 2-on-1 situation it doesn't matter. Like Nick Jackson was immediately Super King. Santana and Ortiz, there was a quick elimination. I think the first people to be eliminated was 2HQ because they were a jobber tag team, even though how highly athletic Angelico and Jack Evans are. Santana and Ortiz, they didn't all help to get one. I think Luchasaurus out when he was like bicycle kicking and then nearly beating the crap out of I think Santana. Really good opening match that ended up with the Young Bucks winning with one half of them available. Santana and Ortiz, 2-on-1 exchange. So, yeah, that was a pretty fun opener. I thought it was a bit too overzealous and they were doing too much on the no sells. It's pretty much AEW in the landslide. Next up, Shayna faced off against Chris Statlander with Britt Baker. I think she was also on commentary. Statlander won. Then as soon as that happened, Big Swole came in saying, "Oh, you're the real champ." As soon as Nyla Rose came, and I think this was later in the show, Nyla Rose was coming for her interview with Shivani, saying the most like disinterested interview, like "Congratulations to becoming women's champion 1 week ago." What the hell? That was. It's like you could feel the disrespect in Nyla Rose because you're a dude. It just really undervalues her as champion. That means she might have like at least a month or two until she loses it. Even though I think Nyla Rose is a fine wrestler. Either way, going into the match, it was just some pile drive. I think it was a package or some kind of pile driver Statlander used to win the match. It was a decent finish to a match that no one cared about because obviously they're doing something about Britt Baker trying to build her up as more of a heel and how she's still got like a number on the women's championship after Statlander faces off against probably Nyla Rose thinks she's like number 2 ranked. So they might be booking a triple threat match because they can't do heel against heel. Then Vic Swole came around looking like she had her thing in a bun. And then immediately after she shook her head, immediately all the dreads kept popping out. So there was no point. Jon Moxley versus Jeff Cobb. It just ended up after a roll up finish. Really good belly to belly suplex, then a gut wrench suplex. Just showing Jeff Cobb still has that amazing. He used, I think, his something of the islands. That move only got like a 2 count, shockingly. It's like it felt like oh my god, Moxley might lose until it was a roll up finish for Moxley to escape so he can get some momentum for Revolution. Jericho came around beating the hell out of him until Darby Allin and everybody else came in to help out Moxley. Dustin Rhodes, Darby Allin came around over his skateboard, obviously trying to get payback over his throat getting crushed over a skateboard, asking for Sammy Guevara like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, saying, "Hit me up, Sammy Guevara. Are you like good for Revolution?" I find this okay because at least these are conflicting superstars that have beef. Like Jake Hager has issues with Jake Hager has issues with Dustin Rhodes. Darby has something to do with Sammy Guevara. Nobody has anything to deal with Ortiz and Santana. Things are at it. Well, maybe Moxley because one damaged their eye, one pinned him 2 weeks ago, and Moxley just has to win the world title. Wasn't that much confliction over their tag team title match? It was a great match. I think there was 20. I think there was tornado DDT on the on the apron. Running punt kick while Ray Phoenix was on the top rope. Reverse Frankensteiner by I think Ray Phoenix from the top. It was a fast paced match. I think this was better than their match they had against Kazarian and Scorpio Sky. And I really thought that after the setup for the package pile driver was going to pick up the victory until a roll up finish, and then the lariat and the V trigger combined over to Pentagon. It was a good, fast paced matchup where we thought, oh my god, they're going to make the titles change already. And it's like, I know they're trying to build up for later, but dude, uh, the Young Bucks should have been tag team champions by the start. And it's like, uh, what else are they building up for this pay per view? What's going to be the major selling point other than Moxley's got to face off against Jericho? I think this would be the prime. Like, this is going to be like the third time I'm suggesting, like, you should obviously get a mid card championship. Because, and get more into the Dark Order. Because you keep like saying they're trying to induct new members, yet they're not doing interviews. You're not going more into the segments. Like you want to build this order as like a differential faction. Make it so. Make it so. Make it so we can like get like a full on and like what are they trying to do here? Trying to take over. They're trying to build their own cult. They're trying to do something. They get more in depth other than they're interested primarily in Christopher Daniels, and they keep like teasing that he might join because he called himself a fallen angel, and that sounds dark for a faction called the Dark Order. It's not that enticing as you wanted it to be. And they keep teasing that there's going to be a breakup segment. The only thing teasing was when he missed a slingshot lariat and accidentally hit Kenny Omega when Pentagon missed. We dodged the lariat. That was technically it, and Kenny Omega never even thought of getting him back for that. Like, oh my god, you did that to me? V Trigger. Cost themselves the tag team titles. Like, it's two individuals. They're two individual wrestlers. Obviously, they're solo wrestlers, so why isn't it so hard to take away the belts from them? They are obviously now like the most dominant tag team in the roster right now. They're probably better than the Young Bucks, sadly, because they got a conflict because the this storyline been involving the Elite for a majority of the year so far. So obviously they're gonna make the titles change or something. Next up, main event match of the evening would be a steel cage match involving Wardlow, and if Cody wins, he gets to face off against MJF come Revolution of next week. So this was obviously a win. Obviously Wardlow power bombing, power slamming then tossing Cody's head over the steel cage where he immediately busts open. We know Cody Rhodes is a workhorse. The dude like busts. He nearly bleeds in every other important match. The time when he messed up a tope when he faced off against Jericho, his personal match he had with Dustin, and now a freaking steel cage match. He didn't even, shockingly, he never got busted open when he took that chair shot of Sean Spears that shockingly wasn't here. Pac that continues to make these crazy segments when he's trying to issue his Iron Man match he has with Cody next week. Uh, where is Sean Spears anyway? I'm shocked. Like, wasn't he supposed to be the big signing from WWE they got? They called him the chairman. He was with Tully Blanchard, a four horsemen, and you're telling me that they do nothing with him. They don't make him join the elite. They don't make him join the inner circle when he obviously has a vendetta with Cody Rhodes. All this weird stuff. I think this is completely weird. I understand they're trying to go for storylines right now, but do something with Sean Spears, guys. Or do something about more of the women than just make them conflict for the women's championship. They didn't even go over the rest of the Joey Janela feud with Kip Sabian from the last week when they ended it on Dynamite, and just Sabian picking up a roll up. So obviously they want this to continue for the next week. No, they didn't. They even go over an interview after the match they had the last week. I went over a top of the cage moonsault for the finish. That was so crazy, so cool, so high risk, and it feels like it's gonna be great for Dynamite's exposure. That was their first steel cage match ever, and that will sell tickets more than WWE or NXT. As much as that they want to treat like NXT as like a third brand show, it's just a super duper expensive indie show. That's harsh to say, but it is. And SmackDown has not been building up. I think it was better back on SmackDown Live. As much as I also, if you see my past reviews from 2018 to 2019, I have gripes with SmackDown Live, but at least they had reasons to watch. Now it feels like on Fox, and the most exciting part of the show is Otis and that heartfelt promo from Tucker. Why did you give my homie the puss? Uh. So we have a couple stuff build up for next week and just some stuff building up with the pay-per-view. If we get more exposure over the roster, there should be more exposure for the roster, more storylines in place. AEW has an issue with that. They have good keys to make themselves look good, but they need more stuff to make sure there's more exposure, especially on the roster part. Like most of what we're getting is just MJF, Cody, the Inner Circle, a tiny bit of the tag division at times. Like I don't remember Angelico and Jack Evans were even on Dynamite for a moment, and I saw like the full roster as soon as they had those little interviews and post and conferences before they even aired on TV. So it's like, what are they doing with most of the roster? They should be capitalizing on the talent they have. Have interviews on what they want to do, who they're going to face off against. Dark is fine to have, but dude, just come on. I want Dynamite to succeed. I think a lot of people want Dynamite to succeed, so we can have a huge alternative to watching WWE programming. They obviously have great, young, aspiring superstars, and if you actually give them the time to actually make a promo, you have a relationship storyline. You have a guy managered by a four horsemen. That's built. That should be like immediate screen time. MJF was involved in the steel cage match, but all he did was get hit by Arn Anderson. Dustin Rhodes is still wearing the paint because obviously that's how we know him better. Chris Jericho hasn't been in a match since the 6-man tag from a week ago after Rockin' Wrestling. And they should involve more tournaments, especially for a mid-card title. Yet I heard something in the works for a women's tag team titles, and there hasn't been that many women. Like on the show. Like, other than that dumb faction Brandy had for a couple weeks, that obviously didn't build up traction because it looked like they had mainly Dykes and an Uncle Fester in the group. But that's practically it. Show was fine, decent wrestling, average promos. The steel cage match was awesome. The tag title match was good. But too underselly over no selly. Other than that, it was an entertaining show. At least I have a major selling point of why you would watch Dynamite. Like, you first time ever having a steel cage match. People were going to watch a steel cage match on your show. A new free signing from the indies that obviously some hardcore fans are going to watch. Sheriff Cobb. Like, come on, Lucha Underground, PWG, New Japan, Ring of Honor. The guy is notable. So obviously people are going to watch. But they need to pick up like real faces, like at least WWE alum or some other guys that obviously need some more traction. Or make some storylines. AEW's missing that. Make a mid-card belt. Introduce it on the next show. Those are just my suggestions. I'm obviously not going hard on this like I am WWE because unlike WWE, this has been under a year in the works. Like 2 years in the works. WWE has been for decades, so I go high on that because there's a higher expectation for a show like that, while Dynamite's just starting. So hopefully they get their stuff together for the next episode of Dynamite next week. So